Yeah, and just keep in mind that there's long term and there's the short term, right? Short term counseling and therapy, things like that. But we're not the professionals. We're just the bros in the locker room, right? So we encourage you to go do that and test it out. If you find someone that's not really working out for you, it's okay. It is okay to say thank you so much for the time. I'm going to go elsewhere. Do that in dating. Don't drag it along. It's expensive, right? Emotionally, physically, mentally. Do the same thing. It's just, hey, this is not going to work out. And just be upfront and be respectful, objective, and just keep it moving, right?
I
So
like being objective. It's fun.
it is.
So can I put you on the spot?
Uh,
Oh, I can. Thanks. So, do you think depression is real?
depression.
Is depression more real than sadness, or is sadness more real than depression?
That's like asking an interior decorator to do something that only an interior designer is qualified for, right? And the analogy is this: all interior designers are interior decorators, right? They have acquired that skill set because they can knock out a wall. Technically, they know how to do the blueprints and architectural references and work with the architects, engineers, and lay out plumbing, lighting, electrical, and all that stuff like that. But an interior decorator cannot do that. They just make the spaces pretty. No offense to those interior decorators out there, and but the interior designers are probably clapping up and saying thank you, right? Um, and it's not devaluing that, it's just an analogy. So when we talk about depression versus sadness, you can feel sad in depression, but in
You say you can
sadness,
feel sad and depression?
feel sad in depression, right? But depression isn't always sadness. And that's what a lot of people don't understand because there's a proverb that comes to mind that even in laughter, the heart can still be sad, right? You can be laughing and having a great time and still be down. Um, and that is a really great way of summarizing the subtleness of depression.
I think that's sad though. And
Yeah,
that proverb, I think it's more sad, not depressed.
well, but the fact is, you can still laugh, right? When you're
Well,
depressed,
yeah. When you're sad, you can still laugh. I agree with you on that.
yeah, but in depression, it's like it's a slow deterioration, right? Sadness is an immediate, you feel it right away. There's no undeniable, I'm sad. You feel sad. It's an immediate, I know I'm sad. But with depression, you don't quite know. It's just that things start to change slowly. Motivations begin to dwindle, focuses begin to fade, things that you once liked seem to become benign, and it just begins to creep up. Um, your thoughts start to slowly play tricks on you. Your mind starts to wander and drift, and then at one point you don't even realize how far things have gone because depression is like a companion that's willing to travel with you and you don't even know they show up. Sadness comes bearing gifts that are easily recognized, right? So when you're dealing with depression, you can still function, still be brilliant, still show up, still have those conversations, but then the substance of it leaves, the presence of it leaves, and then it starts to become a place to where you're literally just going through the motions and you don't realize when you transition from authenticity to an avatar.
So my thoughts on it, and of course we're not professionals, but from what I don't know. So for anyone that's listening, I am left brain, left-handed, very analytical. So I'm very black and white about things, and that's just how I'm wired. Judge me how you want to judge me. Um, More than half of America is overweight, and we have about 10% of Americans' population that's depressed. My thing is, and studies have shown this, you change the prison's diet and they're far happier. Um, as Steve Harvey even said, like, if you put an oak tree seed in a pot that's 2 feet deep, it's not going to become an oak tree. So we become a product of our environment. And I don't feel, and I think we've all heard this, that you need to eat more fish. And fish has an EPA, which there's several amino acids that our body needs, and I believe 7 of them can't produce on their own. And that EPA comes from omega 3s. And they've done brain studies on people, take a certain amount of EPAs, and lo and behold, you don't have depression.
Mm.
So, I mean, I get what you're saying because I feel like we can bring on any type of condition if we don't give ourselves, like, for example, a lot of us, and for women out there and mothers that are soon to be mothers, that are about to have babies, uh, it's very important, as I just learned too, is that we as a civilization used to be outdoors more often.
Mm.
Vitamin D is so important. So, vitamin D increases your energy levels. So, a lot of us are indoors. We're not getting that natural vitamin D. So, you need to supplement that, at least with 5,000 IUs. Of course, for those that are pregnant, you need to check with your doctor first. Um, but what we've noticed, or studies have noticed, is that women that are breastfeeding aren't giving all the nutrients that baby needs. You actually need to supplement with vitamin D because
Mm.
babies aren't getting it. And vitamin D is also good for your bones and so forth. So I just feel like some of these things, like we talk about anxiety on the rise, narcissism on the rise, depression's on the rise, probably suicide, unfortunately, I hate to say. It's because we're just not eating right. We're not supplementing our lives right. Like we need to do these things. So for some of you guys out there that are a little bit more into like meal plans and stuff like that, also that's why I eat the same thing over and over and over and over again with the same supplements because I was able to biohack my body and understand like, oh wow, if I actually venture off because I'm not perfect and I eat a fried, chicken leg or something like that, I get headaches and it doesn't process well with me. So by stripping everything down and eating the same thing over and over and over again, I know how my body can adapt. I upped my usage on vitamin D and I found that I had more energy levels too. So,
No, I see. I know what I see what you're saying, and I know this about you because I've seen your meal prep regimen, right? And your supplement regimen. We talk about it often. We swap different things that we do. Um, and so I have a couple of friends who are naturopathic doctors. Now, I'm not giving medical advice, but a lot of times they do talk about um, what we intake can change the outtake, right? Um, and so you're not wrong in the sense that a lot of things that we face um, can be nurtured, right, with proper nutrition because do we eat for pleasure or do we eat for medicine, right? A lot of times, a lot of the issues that we face, and this is what I've seen from just talking with different doctors and just listening to different um, podcasts and diving into my own little personal researches, is that the gut is a beautiful place to start the healing process, right? That's why another way you can look at it is that people eat their feelings. When something's going on, they'll start eating things because they're looking for comfort. It's like, who knew that you can eat food and be comforted, right? Typically, you'll get a hug, right? Or you go talk to a friend or something like that. Now, we're not saying that um, you don't need certain medicines or prescriptions and things like that. That's why we're just having a conversation and throwing it back and forth here. And by all means,
But
seek.
sometimes, I mean, and I agree with you on that. But what I'm to kind of just kind of segue onto that too is that my thing about the medicines is that sometimes they open up Pandora's box for another medicine as well.
True, true. We do live in a society that is all about managing issues instead of resolving it, as far as pharmacia goes. Because it's big business, right? It makes a lot of money, and we live in a very capitalistic place, right? So anywhere that they can make money, people are gonna try to make money, right? It's unfortunate. We know it. We have all lived it. But for those people who that are of a different mindset and a different perspective, right? Um, you can find alternative remedies through different types of food that are not filled with all types of sugars and things like that, processed sugared or processed things, period. But like, just begin to dive into natural herbs, remedies, different types of oils that you can use. There's a whole world of holistic um, things that you can use under the proper care, of course. And that can resolve a lot of different things, right?
And I'd say go slowly into it if you do want to pursue that, just so you know how your body's adapting and
Mm-hmm.
because everybody's body type is different. I don't mean size. I'm talking about like a blood type. I haven't tried the diet like eating according to your blood type. I hear that's
Mm.
actually really good, supposedly. I've been interested in trying that, but I haven't.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, oh yes. And one of the best things you can do immediately if you're finding yourself sad or facing depression, work out. Go to the gym, like literally, go lift some weights. Um, because the act of engaging in that way starts to release things in your body, endorphins, dopamine. You start to literally feel better. So that's one of the best and the fastest ways is to go work out. Now you might have some physical conditions that you can't do that, but it was a suggestion. If you find some alternative way that you can do
And
that.
those that like a quick fix too, you can just take a cold shower for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Brace yourself though, because
Make
brace
sure
yourself.
it hits like your chest and around your chin. So then that way for those 3 minutes, it also helps your immune system for your lungs too.
Then too, this is a great way, the great segment way to go into like we have this thing called the confession box. Please do not make it inappropriate confessions, you guys. Like we're not therapists. If you want us to laugh with you and to hold space with you, by all means, because we do that with each other. I do that for other people. But it's like, okay, do I need to say more? Like that silence for those who are just listening, I'm sure that silence carried weight. And those that saw, yeah. So it's like you confession booth, right? For example, like one of the confessions, I have done this. And don't you say a dang on thing, Mr. Captain Awesome. Like I have done this. Okay. Like I said, I was working late, but I just needed silence in my car for 3 hours. There have been times where I have came home from work. There have been times I have left the office, got in my car, and then didn't pull out of the parking lot till like 2, 3 hours later. Because I just needed that moment to just sit in the
Oh yeah,
silence.
I've seen him do that. I thought he was trying to get his GPS to work or something. I'm like, oh, this poor guy.
I'll just sit, and you know what? Hey, it does that. That's just one type of thing. So, for those of you all who are listening, like drop your anonymous confessions, into the DM and things like that, or send it to us on the site. And we can talk about some of them. And if you feel open, there's no pressure, because we listen and we don't judge. But if we're going to listen, we might talk about it here, right? Because
I want to, yeah, that's a good point too. Like, yeah, that's really good point. Don't judge. So even though I might be the critical one on this end, like and what I'm saying is I'm just again left brain spitting facts. If my facts are wrong, please correct me because I'm always open to that as well. But that is so important. So I would say that for quality of relationships, don't judge each other, accept one another for who you guys got in the relationships for. I'm not saying for the bad qualities, like if you got some type of substance abuse issue, things like that, like I'm all for helping one another out. But what I mean by don't judge is like I think sometimes when we're talking to one another, we feel like our partner will love us less. And if that's the case, like that's probably not the right partner anyways. Like we do need to get back into a place of like loving one another. Like so as Locker Room said, he's a man of faith. I'm also a man of faith as myself. And that's one thing I think about, like, how can I be more like Jesus in a way where it's like I don't feel like all the people that he was around like broken, how we all are broken people ourselves. We should be coming from a place of, no judgment. Because at the end of the day, when our time is up, we're going to have our own judgment and we're going to be judged based on how we're judging other people of this world, our brothers and sisters.
Yeah, and we know not everybody shares the same background, the same convictions, and we're not focusing on that. There's not some say, hey, you need to get this and get it right this way. It was like we understand that. Like in the locker room, everybody has their own path, right? And we respect that culturally, dynamically, we respect all of that. We're not here to talk about the differences. We're here to celebrate what we share in common, right? And at the end of the day, for those who are here, right, we're all part of humanity, the species of mankind, right? And for those fellow brothers, we're all XY chromosomes. We share so much more in common than what we do uncommon, right? And for the ladies who are out there, thank you for showing up on our platform. Remember, you are a guest in our world, right? And I'm not going to back down from that because you all have the whole freaking rest of the social media area and all these things. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. Yeah, I'm gonna have my little moment. Thank you. But you are still welcome, right? We want you to be here because if it wasn't for a woman, no one would be here, right? We had to come through something. So I value that, we value that, but we keep it respectful. We honor the differences, but we don't focus on them, right? So we know everybody has a different walk, different belief systems and structures, but at the end of the day, we're in the same place, and that's the locker room.